we experience queue in many places, like the bank counter or ticket counter in a cinema theater, and everywhere, like even in schools, in assembly, we will be forming a queue, or it is called as waiting lines or something like that, right? So that's what we're gonna analyze in this particular lecture. So this lecture will be focusing primarily on the types of queues, the characteristics of queues, and so on, right? Right. So one of the interesting thing about queuing theory is that the word queuing, it is considered to be one of the unique word, which has got five vowels, like vowels like A, E, I, O, U. So five of them forming in a word is queuing. Like U, E, U, E, I. So five, vowels forming an English letter, and this is the one example. So this is typically an example where in which you have got five vowels continuously in a word, right? So something like in one of the sessions on queuing theory, they talked about this, right? Right? And remember, the spelling also matters. Like some textbooks have got different spelling, but this is the correct spelling for queuing. And this is actually the study of waiting lines. So queuing theory means study of waiting lines, and generally it is short, made it short to call queues or something like that, right? So it is omnipresent, as I told you. It's there, existing everywhere, like in a supermarket, in a production system. So this is typical example of a manufacturing yard or something like that. In a line manufacturing, there will be a processing center for one component or something like that. Then the assembly section with the other components, and the finished products, the finishing section, and so on, like those things, right? So without assembly of a product, they cannot do a final painting or coating, right? So as simple as that. So that's Q. So the machine has to wait, or the people in the finishing unit has to wait till the assembly is over, right? So it's as simple as that, right? Then post office, then parking place. Sometimes if you don't have a reserved parking, then you have to really look into the empty spaces and all something like that. Right? So many researchers worked on the parking space allotment. They use different algorithms to formulate the inflow traffic and outflow traffic, and to decide like which slot gets filled, and some spatial analysis, something like that. So probably you can look at this a little later when you do your final project or something like that, right? Then data communication, probably some of our students are from computer science background, or they do computer science degree. So this will be a very interesting factor for them. It talks about the communication, computer communication or computer networks. Like it is generally denoted by cells that transmit some link from one switch to the next, right? So in each switch, incoming cell are called, can be buffered when the incoming demand exceeds the link capacity, right? Say a server is there, like there are a lot of traffic comes into. So the server capacity is something like that can satisfy only some amount of data, or process some amount of data per minute or something. So the remaining portion has to wait, or it forms a queue or something like that. If you have a download manager, if you download multiple articles at a time, then it probably is, if the manager is capable of downloading only three articles, then it will process the three article and download it. Meanwhile, it will put all other as queue. So once this is done, automatically the download manager will go to the item that is in queue and start downloading. It's as simple as that, right? So buffer is full, incoming cell will be lost. And what is, you can even talk about delay, and you can also talk about the good size of the buffer or something like that, like buffer or contingency. So you can design all those things in the particular stuff. Then call centers, then toll booths. This is typically everyday stuff. If you travel in a place, national highway, you might encounter toll booths. Then you can probably, nowadays, like FASTag has comes into picture, so you don't have to really wait. So the amount of waiting time has drastically decreased because of the automated system, which senses the the fast tax, and deduct the money from that. Otherwise, if you encounter manual operated toll booths, the person, the driver will give us money, And if it does not give exact exchange cash, exact amount of cash, then the problem happens or waiting time increases because of the servicemen taking a lot of time to give him the balance amount or something like that. So that's kind of a important thing that you can see in daily life. You might have experienced that in your daily life also. Then traffic lights, this was a typical example, like the signals, like what is the time in which it gets delayed or something like that. Right, so queues are formed when inadequate or lack of services happens, and it is something like when the demand increases the capacity or the service mechanism, then you can naturally see queue, right? So some of the things are very important because scheduled arrivals, or sometimes it is something like random arrivals or unpredicted nature or something like that, so that can increase. Right, so generally people do not like to wait, so queuing is not I mean, forming a queues is not an acceptable thing. So our goal is to eradicate or at least rectify the formation of queues or something like that. Or we can find out optimal queue length or something like that, like optimum waiting time or something. That's the objective of this queuing theory, right? So uh, to have a etymology of the queuing theory. So queue comes from the Latin word, or you can even has French origin. It is mean tail, so it forms like a tail. So they say it's a queue. And queuing is just generally preferred this spelling over this spelling. So if you can accidentally read an article about this, it's kind of incorrect. So this is the correct spelling, which have five vowels consequently present in the word, right? Something like that. Five consecutive vowels, something like that. Right. So queuing theory was initially had its origin from the traffic engineering or traffic analysis by A.K. Erlach, a Danish telegraphic engineer. So he actually worked on the telephone traffics, and published a paper called The Theory of Probabilities and Telephone Conversations. So this is the birth of queuing theory, right? So it's actually based on probability. Queuing theory is not different from probability because it uses Poisson distribution and so on. So they use probability and to find out the queuing length or something like that, right? So hence Erlag was a person who developed this. They named after him. So they call that model as Erlag model, 1920s. And then Kendall is another scientist who worked on embedded Markov chain. So he applied that in queuing system. And what we now use is Kendall's notation. We'll talk about that a little later. Then later, Lindley and Jackson also worked on queuing network models. Queue network models are not part of your syllabus, but it is pretty much an important thing that people study in undergraduate in a course called Random Processes and Queuing Theory. In that, queuing network plays a huge role, but we don't have a queuing theory in our operation research curriculum. So we will be looking at this in a broad perspective, but not in a greater detail. Then in later 1960s, Leonard Klenow has developed computer networks, and then he dealt a lot of things in queuing theory for computer science and computer networks. Now, queuing theory is now extended to multifarious problems, not only for telecommunication, but also in business environment. Mm, Even in civil engineering, there is a particular type of network called QGERT. GERT is graphical evaluation review technique, and QGERT is queuing theory associated with the GERT network. So they use for construction scheduling and so on. So queuing theory is almost nowadays explored in different areas where the formation of queues and waiting lines happens. Right. So queuing theory is also referred as theory of congestions, which means formation of multi-level blockage or something like that in a network. So that's why it is referred as theory of congestion. And it's a branch of OR. So that's why we study this in operational research. And some important things that you can probably see is we've seen the example, but we will see the situation where queue happens and what happens during that particular scenario or something. The situation is that passage of customers through a supermarket, like there's a checkout in that one person will be scanning the barcode. I mean, the person who is responsible to collect cash and or find the weight of the items you buy, and then allocate or prepares a bill of quantities and or bill of schedule or something like that. Then that person at that time the arriving customers or the shoppers, the one who shops the particular supermarket, and then service facilities, the checkout counter. Right, this is pretty much. So, or you can even talk about railway station, where in which the ticket collector in his office will be the service mechanism with the systems, of course, but the passengers or the arriving customers, one who, people who board railways or trains, or the arriving customers. And similarly, inventory of item in a warehouse, like order for withdrawal, and warehouse is the service facility. And scheduling of patients in a clinic, patients are the customers, and medical care, or now we call them as receptionist or attenders or something like that. So that's billing, as well as the entry of a patient and give them the token number or something like that. Arriving of trucks at central market, like trucks are the passengers kind of thing, I mean customers, and loading crew or the facility, service facility, and so on. Then calls at police control room, like service calls, or the or you can even call them as victims, or people who want service, I mean who want help from the police and the customers. In this case, or generalized service calls, like whoever does that calls, the calls is considered to be service, the customers. And then policeman or the facility, the one who answers your call. And say, for example, in America, they call 911. In our country, we'll have 100. So if you call dial 100, it will goes to police control room. So that's calls as customers, and policemen is the the facility, service facility. Right. So a movie is also made in Tamil. It's called 100. The movie itself is called 100. So it's a 100 call a policeman received, and it's a bigger case for him, something like that. So that's a story that depicts the life of a police who works in the service facility. I mean, this call center or police control room facilities. Normally, when we think about police, we'll be thinking about law and order, traffic police, but there are other departments in police department also. One such thing is the this particular control room policemen. Right. Then we'll talk about queuing system. Right. So input, there's a service mechanism, and this is basically the number of service it could offer, so that it the queues are formed or something, or queues are avoided. So either way, right? Then once people or input gets served, I mean processed, it goes to the output, something like that. So if number of input increases, if the service mechanism is not so adequate to accommodate all the input, then the queue forms. So as simple as that, like this particular case. So arrival, we'll talk about queue later. It's the arrival directly goes to the service. If the service is not very comprehensive to satisfy all the incoming arrivals, then the queue forms. So whichever the service mechanism satisfies, that particular gets departure. Like this, a person comes, and this is the waiting room, and this is the number of servers, and both the things, waiting rooms and servers, are called system capacity. If the number of servers are inadequate to match all the incoming population, then queue forms, and it will reduce the queue by providing service to the people, like first come first serve, then people departure, and this particular thing is server. So this is a typical example that I really like the most. So this is the block diagram of it, like the source of users. This is the point of arrival of the system. So people comes here, and then they forms a queue if the service mechanism is inadequate. and then they departure from the system. So this is schematic representation of block diagrammatic representation of general queuing system, generic queuing system. Then we have got characteristics of queuing system like input, it's called calling population. Then arrival process, like how people comes in, like that's also matter. We talked about arrival, but we talked about what interval of point they'll comes in. They come all at once or individually at once at some specified intervals or randomly arrive. So those things are called the nature of arrival or arrival process. Then queue has queue configuration and queue discipline. Like as I told you, first come first serve or round robin or random service, something like that. So those are called queue discipline. And queue configuration, like how much people we can accommodate in the waiting room or something like that. Then service mechanism, like the process, service process, or the number of servers. It's a single server or a multi-server, all those things matters. And finally, output. Output does not have much significance because we can only talk about queuing into a greater level in queuing theory. But output also matters because how satisfied people have gone or what is the rate of incoming to the outgoing. So those things also matters if you take queuing theory to a holistic perspective. Right? It says the arrival process, the service process, the queue discipline, and the system capacity. System capacity we have already defined. It is nothing but number of servers plus the waiting room. Right? So it talks about the holistic perspective. So all these things are given here. Generally, Poisson distribution we will take as the mean arrival rate. So rate of arrival of the customers or lambda, which means that exponential distribution of the mean, which means that the time between consecutive arrival uh, has an exponential distribution. We'll talk about that a little later when we do problems. We talk about 1 by lambda. Then calling population, I mean the people arrive, it is according to the source or according to the numbers or according to the time. So depending upon that, we make, have to model our queuing system. Generally, it is based on time. We will talk about deterministic model where the arrival times are known. But generally, it is a randomized arrival. So we will be only looking into probability or stochastic model in queuing theory, right? So when we know only that particular amount of customer will come, then modeling a queuing network or queuing theory may not be a very big task. Reason is that we know 5 people comes at this particular time, so we can easily accommodate 2 servers so that two people get served simultaneously, so that 3 people will wait, then another 2 people go, another 1 people will be waiting, so we can have a definite control. But we are not pretty sure, say for example, if a particular time 7 people comes, or another particular time 4 people comes, or another particular time there are 15 people comes at once. So then the problem happens. Then only we will be looking into queuing theory or appreciating the significance of queuing theory. Right? Then the pattern of arrival at the system. So stationary arrival pattern or non-stationary arrival pattern. So which means that time-dependent patterns are non-stationary, whereas the does not change with time is called stationary pattern. Say this is typically like we send 5 people during our school excursion. Sometimes we will go to Chennai Museum, where the entry is restricted to some 20 people per minute or something, or per visit or something, or per round visit or something. So if you take a batch of 100 people, then you will be forming 5 batches, each 20. So you will send them. So once one batch who went inside comes back, we will send the other batch. Or if they take a lot of time, the batch who went earlier, we will intimate them, then chose to finish the process early. So as simple as that. So those are called stationary arrival patterns. So we know that we'll be sending a batch of 20. But what happens if you take the Chennai Museum, the arrival as a whole? We talk about our school only, but there are other schools and other general public comes and visits. So that's why they just restricted to 20, students per visit. What happens if they allow all without any stationary arrival or something like that? If it is a non-stationary, then there will be huge crowd at one point, say 9 to 11 a.m. And during the lunch there'll be a lesser crowd, and in the evening time there'll be even more lesser. So in order to maintain good visit, or to give a pleasant visit to the customers, they restricted to batches so that many people, individual people, have a lot of time to explore rather than in the crowded environment or something like that. Right. So that's what we call static arrival, dynamic arrival, and something like that. And behavior of arrival, like patient and impatient. Sometimes you generally see that in railway reservation, railway counter. Some uh, commute trains during their office, for their office. Some they do it for some excursion or something, not very important thing. But some always take that particular train to reach the hospital or something. So the urgency or the purpose of the travel is different. So that's why generally in a railway station counter, there'll be some people, the aged people, they say like they cannot stand for a long, so they give they'll I know give money to the younger one in the crowd so that they can get them the tickets or something like that. So those things are called the behavior of the arrival also matters. Very important thing is called balking, right? So this is a very these are different reactions of customer. The customer may decide to wait no matter how long the queue becomes, or if the queue is too long to suit them. So that's called balking. Uh, no, this is that's not that's anti-balking. Balking is if a customer decide not to enter the queue upon the arrival. They are said to balk, like I said, so bypassing or something like I say, mention example of an aged people or something like that. So or people who have medical problems, like they cannot do it for a longer time. So they said to park or something. Then may enter the queue, but after they may decide to leave the queue also during impatiency. That's called reneging. This is pretty much, if you have two queues, one guy will be standing in a queue, the other queue gets finished early, so he jumps to the other queue. So this can be reneging. Or sometimes people become impatient, they'll go out or something. Like this happens in ticket counter in cinema theater, like during the first day, first shows of some of the celebrity movies. They go, they anticipate that they might get tickets. They go, but after a long time, they just find very difficult and they quit. Uh, Another example is like the cricket match when CSK plays. Even people start, making a queue in the queuing. I mean, in the ticket counter premises at 4 a.m. itself. Like so, they only open the counter at just 9 a.m. But in order to get the tickets, people started, queuing from 4 a.m. itself. So some hardcore fans of cricket, they just generally does that. So if a person who's interested in cricket and wanted to get a ticket, if he comes around like even 8 a.m., so he might see huge crowd and he just back up. So that's called reneging. And jockeying is two or more parallel waiting lines. As I told you, it's they switch from one to another. If they definitely quit, it is called regenerate. But if they move on from one queue to other, it's called jockey. Right? Or priority sometimes, even though it's a queue, sometimes they'll give preference to aged people and pregnant ladies and person with disabilities or something like that. So that's called priority. So some customers are served before others, regardless of their order of arrival or something like that. Or this is typical example of the fast tag, or the card of ex-servicemen or military men. So they have some priorities in toll booths. So, or sometimes if you live in the OMR, Old Mahabalipuram Road, there are a lot of tolls. Like so, if you live in that particular place, you can apply for a concession card, than which even though you have a FASTag, they charge 30 rupees per toll booth. So if there is a three toll booths that will charge 90 rupees, two, and fro it is 90, then 180 rupees. If you live in that particular area, you cannot daily pay them 180 rupees, but instead you can apply for a concession card. say 1,000 rupees, 6 months or something, so that or even a year's time, so that you can go any point of time with that card. That's a priority card or something like that. Or sometimes you might get a call from customer care stating that you are a priority customer. They offer you a credit card because your you know um, transfer mechanism or fund allocation mechanism in your account is pretty good, something like that. So those are called priority. They serve first than the other people. Just like a membership. If you have a membership card, if you in an apartment, catered apartment, in a accessing a clubhouse, you can given a much priority than people who pay and use that particular regular period of time. So that's a priority card, right? So this is another thing called service process or mechanism. We know that the arrival rate is lambda, but the service rate is mu. It is also Poisson distribution. Generally, people call this as Poisson distribution. It is called Poisson. It's a French word. It's called Poisson distribution, and the exponential distribution is the mean, service time, right? 1/mu, something like that, right? Then the service capacity. It talks about the server and the waiting, room. Generally talks about server. It could be a single server or a multiple server or something like that, or single queues or several queues or something like that. Like this is a single server system or single queue. Where it talks about arrival, queue, service, single server, and customer leads. So this is a single server, single queue model. And single server, several queue models is only one facility. Arrivals happens in multiple ways, and then the queue happens in a multiple, format or rooms, and then the customer leaves or something like that. So there's a single server, and I think it's a multiple single server and several queue model. It's not single queue; it's a several queue model. Single server and several queue model. And this is multiple server. It's also known as parallel server and single queue. So single queue, multiple servers. They can go to multiple servers. This is typical example of a bank counter, uh, provided there's not a separate server for funding. I mean, receiving money. So if you have a multiple service stations, if you go and based on the arrival, you can look at which serving mechanism has got the least people, so you can directly go into. Then multiple server and several queues. The multiple servers and several queue model. This is something immigration office. In an airport, you can have a single server. You have multiple servers and multiple queues. Like for international, they'll check into all your visas and something like that. Whereas for domestic, they'll look into your tickets and boarding pass and something like that. And also, this is pretty much in the airlines that you choose. If you choose AirAsia, Indian Airlines, or something like that, you don't Indian Airlines persons does not go into AirAsia for the service mechanism. Or even in AirAsia, there'll be 2 to 3 service centers. Like this is in first floor, ground floor, so that you don't miss any of it. Like so, they can serve it at uh, any point of time and when any place where you board or something like that. All right, so service facilities in a series. This is typically the production system. Like this is a multiple server, but it which comes in a series network. Like once this is done, then it goes to this. Like the line, this is assembly section. This is something like finishing section. So once the assembly is done, it goes to the queue. It finish individual things, and then it will produce outside the finished product from there. Then speed of service matters, like the service rate, the service time. Too much of service time, it will be a disaster to the particular uh, particular organization or something. Then waiting room, this is service stage. This is a very important thing. The amount of people in the queue is also equivalent to the amount of people, amount of in all the capacity of the waiting room to accommodate that amount of people waiting in the queue. Otherwise, if you see some places, some small hospitals, if you could see, or sometimes an ATM, during some times when the cash is or demanded like during festivals, you see a lot of queues outside ATM. Like so, there are only one or two people can wait outside ATM where it is demarked as the waiting room, but it extends beyond that. So, yeah. And nowadays, due to pandemic or the COVID thing, so there will be some social distancing. So the queue really goes outside the waiting room. So then waiting time, that's also matters. Like it is TQJ, which is the time that a jth customer is made to wait between entering this system and the service somewhere. Right. So a delay sometimes not only queue forms because of inadequacy of the service mechanism, but also in the delay. Say for example, in a passport verification office, or if you apply for a passport, there are multiple levels that you reach to the top management to register your passport. There'll be intermediate check, then there'll be a detailed check, then they will take all your people and this thing thumb impressions. There's one section. Then they'll take some time for verification of the document. Then they issue the passport. They don't issue it to you directly. They'll just give it to the local police station. And then there is another check in between the passport reaches you. They do a background verification through police if you have any criminal cases pending or something like that. And then once it is cleared, you will get a notification from the police station. So all these things matters. Like so, if there's any delay in any one point, it adversely affects the entire final output. So that's what basically the delay means. It just gets congested when something goes not correct. Say in a line assembly, the assembly takes longer time so that the other processes after that gets hampered. So if the assembly, if there's any miss or malfunctioning of a machine, and if it is shut down for a particular period, the finishing gets affected, and so as the entire project or a product gets affected. And total delay is tau j, which is TQJ plus SJ, which is this waiting time plus the service time. And the transmission of service delay or propagation delay, this is very important, which is the point of service of the last customer in the queue to the reception of the last customer in the queue originally at the other end, something like that. So this is a propagation delay. So it's how people moves also matters. It is not only a service. Sometimes people move lethargically, then that might hamper the service mechanism so that it forms a queue. So that's called propagation delay. So this is very important for queue discipline. So this is one that we will be really looking to a lot of details like service discipline, and it is called blocked customer cleared. So when a customer, when blocked customers do not wait, they return immediately to the prerequisite state. So that's called blocked customer cleared. And blocked customer delayed. So those people who waits and then it gets delayed. And this is what we call a scheduling, right? So it will be later on cleared or something like that. And work conservation queuing discipline. So this is typically the commonality in queues, which is the server does not remain idle with waiting customers. So it will process it as and when it is coming. So I repeat, so queuing discipline is called work conservation. If the total work in the system, there is sum of unfinished work of those in the system, is as in the same mode, but with a first come, first serve discipline. Something. And the other important thing is queuing discipline is non-anticipating the additional receive service is not a function of actual service requirement. So it is as simple as that. Then static queue discipline, that is a very important thing. So this is a very important thing that you should know in queuing theory. It's called first come, first serve, or first in, first out. So generally they say, in a queue, we generally shout at the end, like you should give priority to the people comes first, come and first serve. You should not give them priority for the other kind of people. The last come, first serve, this is very uncommon. It's called last come, first serve. So the typist in a government office, she has a lot of work to typeset. But if some comes in as an emergency, as a last, even though it comes as a last, they have to process it quickly, as simple as that. Other thing, daily typesetting, they can do compromise and do it later afterwards once they finish the priority job or something. So that's an example, but actually last come first serve not very common. Then preemptive regime, so which means once the ongoing service, they preemptive empts the ongoing service so that it when the interruption has happened, it gets continued from the same point. Just like in a construction, they just if they construct a wall, if they could only do half a wall, they don't do half a wall, but instead they do a diagonal wall, diagonally done, so that the next time they come tomorrow, they can finish the other diagonal, so that that will create a good bonding for a civil construction work. So non-empty dynamic queue service in random order. So whichever comes in, that gets served in a random order. Then priority service, as I told you, it gives some priority. Not necessarily first come first serve. First come first serve is also priority in the sense, but other than that, also priority, like ex-servicemen and giving some preference to disabled people. So that's also a priority service. Then processor sharing, like this is also known as parallel processing or work sharing. So they generally does one server gets high, it can be moved. The waiting items can be, or the buffer items can be moved to the other elements. Or the queued items can be moved to others mechanism that finishes early. Then other queue disciplines like round robin, it is something like an rotatory mechanism where which you can find out one that serves and it will wait, it will do the processes so that when other service mechanism gets over, he automatically allocates this. Just like a revolver, you remember revolver has a round stuff. So the bullets, so it can one hit, it can rotate it. The other hit, it can, the emptied bullets goes down and the loaded bullet comes in. So as simple as that. Shortest job first, and this also another type of queue, when which if a person withdraws the money, or if a person wants to change his bank account or modify, so the work is both the works are bank related, but the time taken for withdrawal money or providing financial assistance is pretty easier than a person with a change of accounts, verification and so on. So they do first come first. So generally the counter, in the counter, the person says, sir, I'll finish this particular job and I'll come back to this. And it says like your job takes a little longer, so please be patient. So we'll finish quicker job so that we can spend a lot of time for you somewhere. Otherwise, the queues are haphazard. So if they do a longest job first, then the shortest job could have been done earlier, but the queue will be pretty long somewhere. Then other things like departure process, the system capacity, and this is very important. Queuing is said to be in transient state when its operating characteristics are dependent of time. So generally we take transient state, but steady state generally we will consider when the characteristics are independent of time. Like it does not look into time perspective, it comes as a random. So this is where the difficulty comes in, and then we'll apply queuing theory so that we look for steady state probabilities independent of time. And this is very important. So far we talked about the basic overview of queue and queuing theory. And this is David G. Kendall, who has defined a notation to represent queuing system. So he say A bar, B bar, X bar, Y bar, Z. So which means that A, the first represents the arrival distribution, and B represents the service time, and X represents the number of server, and Y represents the system capacity, and Z represents the queuing discipline. So far we have talked about this. In a shorthand, M bar, D bar, 300 and PRI, which means that a queuing system which has exponential inter-arrival of 3, which is this talks about exponential system, and deterministic server, and 100 places. I mean, so this is why the system capacity is 100, and PRI, the queue discipline, priority service discipline. So this is a typical example. But generally, it will be this A can take the first A can take up D. D is a constant or deterministic arrival. or CK, Cox K phase, EK, Erlag K phase. Generally, we will take M, exponential or Markov process, and GEO, these are different things available, PH and something like that, right? Then service time distribution, A bar B. B is can be the same, constant or deterministic, or it could be any of this. Say if constant arrival, inter-arrival distribution, it could be exponential service time distribution. So it is independent of this. There isn't any mechanism. So this is different. This or both can be same. Both can be Erlang phase or something like that. The number of parallel servers reflects 1 to infinity, like infinite servers. And the CS generally stands for multiple servers, something like that. And Y system capacity, like it will be infinite capacity. It can be 1 to infinite. And Q discipline, as I told you, it's a first come, first serve, round random selection, round robin, priority, and processor sharing, and general discipline, or something like that. Right. So this is typical example. And sometimes M also stands for memoryless, but it is actually Markov or exponential. But some people call Markov process memoryless process, so they also represent memoryless. And first come first serve is equals to first in and first out. Last come first serve is also known as last in first out, something like that. So that can be represented in Kendall's notation as well. So that's why we have not given FI FO, because FCFS is pretty equal to this. And this is what we talked about: A bar, B bar, C bar, D bar, E. Or sometimes it can be also written as arrival time, service time distribution, EMSC number of server, and KSC number of customer allotted system. So some books they talk about this also, but generally we will be using this Kendall's notation, right? So this is another type of notation: A slash B slash C slash N slash K. Or sometimes they do it in a bracket, colon, and then they do this. So this thing can be grouped together, and system capacity and size of the target group can be grouped together. So this is exponential arrival, exponential service, one server, infinite capacity, first in, first out. So this is how single server with infinite capacity, and single server with finite capacity. So single server with K, finite capacity, and multiple server with infinite capacity, and multiple server with finite capacity, and single server and finite capacity, infinite capacity. So all these things like single server, Erlang distribution, and so on. So this is how they generally this thing. So this material is uploaded in the Google Drive, so you can take a look at this. So then we'll talk about this probabilistic model, mixed model, when we do a problem. And this is a general performance. Probably we can take a look at this tomorrow's class, Monday's class. And Monday will be starting the problems in string theory, so that you can understand the nuances of this characteristics. There's something called Little's law and something like that. So we'll be taking a look at that in detail in Monday's class. Right. All right. So that's the end of today's presentation.